Hi everybody, this is Emma, Guofeng. This is Christina and Marcus. Yeah, so we are the choreographers of Eudaimonia, the triple bill by Sigma Contemporary Dance that's happening in 2 weeks' time, 26th and 27th of November. So this is just a casual chat between the choreographers because I think it goes beyond the work. A lot of the stuff that we do is not work specific, but really something to do with, I guess, our experiences as human beings, the dancers' experiences, and also our practice. We want to kind of do it as a checkpoint in this work. Yeah, so also we have some questions that I'm supposed to ask everybody, including myself. So this session is really just about that. I think I'd just like to start by further introducing both of them. So we got them into the project because I really like the stuff that they do. Yeah, first of all, so I think it's an honor to be working with these people to present work together as a triple bill. So, and I've danced for both of them before, yeah, and worked with Christina in a few other projects as well. So yeah, we are personal friends as well. So I think it's an interesting collaboration of sorts, yeah, of all the creations, right, that you have done so far over the span of so many years. How do you think that leads to this particular work? Is there any relation to stuff that you've done in the past? Is this work totally something new that you are trying out?
For me, I think it's mostly I just start with practice. So practice of just touch, and that's how usually, like, in any process, like that's how I usually start. And then yeah, I think I started exploring that more during my MA year in London. That's when I started finding like what am I really interested in terms of movement. What's the thing that really draws me? Yeah, I think previously I used to always start from a different place, but yeah, I guess I just wanted something I felt that could feel more tangible for me in terms of like my movement practice. So I feel like the ideas sometimes can feel so vague, but just putting a word and putting a sense of consistency to it makes it feel like it's something that I can go back to. And yeah, it's just that familiarity makes it something I feel safe.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that translate also to the work. When I watch the work as well, I do get that sense of intimacy. Yeah, a lot with the touch core, and I think being a dancer also working through the process of the touch, the connection with the other person is amplified. Yeah. So yeah, that's just nice. Yeah. How about this? Yeah. You have done a lot of works in the past.
I guess I can be quite drastically different with each thing. Even sometimes for same company, that my works can look drastically different. I think maybe the one thing that is sort of related, or that I always try to include, is to bring out the personalities, or not even bring out the personalities, but just to have I feel like my dancers gives me the work, whatever work it is. So I think what's always attracted me to Sigma is the very strong like social element of why they even come to the studio to be together. And then coming from so many different walks of life, and also totally different training backgrounds, where my class has 13 people, right? It's a lot, and some people having almost no contemporary dance formal training, and some people having a lot, like to find a world or a atmosphere that they can all exist in together. But yeah, I think this one especially really all comes from the way that they are together, which is very comfortable, almost transcending some of the usual typical studio
companies kind of
behavior.
energy.
So I wanted to open that window for people to experience this type of freedom that they have.
Interesting, you say they're all different, right? But I actually feel like in the different works, there's actually something very similar also in terms of like how it's being put together. I think that's the curation part of you making work with the different dancers in the piece. Let's attempt a question from the dancers. It's very interesting. If your item was a color, what color would it be?
What? Has to be one color? Look at my costume. It's fully rainbow colored.
Rainbow, so you say rainbow.
I guess blue.
Blue?
Yeah.
Okay, blue.
You have to answer the question.
Well, my costume is nude color, so I guess
Nude.
something natural.
I feel that it would be wrong to categorize into one color because I meant to capture many extremes.
Different
Yes.
types of colors, and which you'll see in the piece as well. Okay, this is a very big overarching question.
Okay.
I guess also to me there was this question to me, why Eudaimonia? Yeah. So how do you all react when I tell you that?
I had to Google it.
You
I
had to Google
the
it, right?
word.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it is. I've never heard it, I think.
I also Googled it. And I studied Greek lit when I was in the conservatoire.
Wow.
I've read the Odyssey, but I was like, Eudaimonia. Google. Everyone will Google after the program. So.
Then after Googling, you still equally confused.
Yeah.
Still not specifically very clear about what that means. There's so many different definitions, and scholars have done many articles on what that means also. So I mean, why you? And I remember saying that let's take it loosely, not to get stuck in that. And then now the title of the show is Eudaimonia. I mean, for me, the theme came about, I guess, also at this point in time in life, right, where I feel like I stopped thinking like, okay, how I've done so many things, or so many stuff happened in the past. I'm starting to think about like how much have I left and what do I do with that rest of the stuff. And I think like this constant thing that I want to be happy, especially in our generation, we feel like this idea that just do whatever, just be happy, right? It becomes like a message that people say, and it seems like that's the buzzword, right? To be happy. But I feel like happiness is tied to specific events. I can only be happy because something happened and I'm happy, and that's not everlasting. It's just when that thing ends, that's gone. I'm back to my usual state of mind, right? But then this state is more important, that we're thinking, how can I elevate this constant state where I don't have to depend on specific events or activities to make me happy per se. So I started Googling like different forms of happiness, and so thanks Google, it's really helpful. Then I stumbled upon the whole Eudaimonia thing, and it intrigues me because it's something that is not that cannot be explained easily. So it's not like one sentence you can cover what it means, but it kind of has an interpretation to it also, which I think is interesting, that we are perhaps all kind of seeking the same thing, but in different ways, in our own ways, but we are kind of seeking the same feeling of Eudaimonia. Then also relating that to dance. Dance is such a happy event, right? It's supposed to be a happy activity. But then what's beyond that? Because we also suffer in dance, there's still that grind of working for something, still, having to go through the process, and it may not be always everything is happy all the time, right? So yeah, what's going beyond this stuff to find, to achieve the ultimate aim, and whether is it really necessary that we achieve it at all. So yeah, that's how I kind of got intrigued by the idea, and then I kind of throw it to them, and perhaps you all can share like how from that conversation on Zoom that we did, how did that lead to your work?
So I did Googling and stuff, and then I guess that for me the biggest thing is that it kind of actually helped me to zoom out from dance as a thing, because I realized that unconsciously the Sigma dancers are here because they are searching for eudaimonia, and in a way the audience will also be at the show, I guess, because you're searching for eudaimonia. Then I took a lot of freedom, because I was reminded that maybe the overarching thing is about like fulfillment or ideal state in life rather than in movement particularly, and that reminded me, I guess, to not take into consideration, but to just feel fully good about everyone's differences. Like, I think it's amazing that some of the dancers are coming back into dance like after motherhood, like very recently, and then some have just joined the company. I think that's one of my favorite things, I guess, about Sigma, that people can just come together, and the dance it exists as a way for them to, I guess, they come to spend this time to find eudaimonia. So your team just was like, oh, I can take total freedom. That's what happened for me. Of course, we kind of talked about maybe how people couldn't really experience, I guess, happiness without also knowing the opposite, which is sadness, and how some things, your experience of things or feelings about things become more intense when you experience the opposite counterpart. But so we kind of looked at some pictures, and I asked people to send me photos that make them feel happy or sad as a compositional tool. I don't think any of this is relevant, but it's very interesting because some of the pictures were the same. Like, you couldn't tell whether this photo was like a happy or sad photo, because sometimes they're actually the same thing. But that was just some of the compositional starting points. But eventually I just was like, oh, actually the rehearsal is in search of eudaimonia. So I was like,
the imagery is being the
freedom.
starting point, and then
yes,
go into just the process and the people, right?
Yeah, I think, we were thinking about what is ideal, right? So first we thought about happiness, and what does it mean to be in a ideal state? What does that even mean, or how does that even look like? And and even if it comes in an abundance, then will it still have value, and will it still be ideal? So those were the questions that come in, and we just thought about actually it's because of things that come and go, of happiness coming and going, sadness coming and going, that's why it compels that search, because it's always this thing that you have to find, right? Because it's just trying to capture that, and then which later on sort of inform some of the task. And one of the tasks that came about was the writing task that was I thought really started to steer the piece already. And so when we were when I think this happened maybe much later, like of in the process, like we realized that actually it's so fragile, this fragility of things slipping, and it's this constant like we're constantly in this state to try to suspend, keep it in suspense. Yeah, so I guess that's how we found our version of Eudaimonia in this work. And yeah, I mean, the dancers actually with the text that they wrote, I mean, I wanted to even well, I mean, what the audience will see later on is mostly Chok's and Shushi's text, but Weijie wrote something really nice as well, but I couldn't find a way to seamlessly put those in as well. So yeah, but anyway, sorry, I'm going as usual. I always talk away from the question. But yeah, going back to that whole thing, especially I resonate with a lot what Christina said about how this space is really a reflection of that. And yeah, and I guess the process was how am I gonna capture that into this piece. Yeah,
Would you consider releasing what Weijie said?
decided to put that in the program as a
Nice.
synopsis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the common stuff that we did was that we started from the dancers. So there were prompts or something that they do that kind of inspire and steer the work in a particular direction. Yeah, for me, I also, for my first rehearsal, I also asked them a question. So my question then was like, what is your ideal self versus your real self, and is there a difference between the two? And they gave me very good material, which later on inspired me to make a lot of the stuff that happened in the work itself, which I think a lot of things really came from the dancers. And I think in that search for the ideal self, right, then I started to think about the ideal society, because one can't exist without the society. And then we live in the war zone, right? I mean, and then can you find, it's different from if you find it here versus somewhere else. So we can't really detach ourselves from the place that we live in and everything that happens within that. So I started to wonder, is there that ideal version of a society as well, and how are we linked with each other? So for my work is again starting point from the dancers, and and many stuff kind of I try to give them the structure to mimic a society that they exist in, and then their reaction to that is what I feel makes the piece. So one other unique thing about, I guess, this Triple Bill is that we are working with music collaborators. Yeah. So maybe talk a little bit about the composers that are making the work, like maybe a bit about the process, how that added to the overall work that ensue, and maybe give a little bit of a sneak peek into how that working process is like. Christina has worked with Ridwan. Ridwan has collaborated many times for our Sigma projects, so he's not a new collaborator. So we know him really well. Christina also know him really well. Yeah. Marcus worked with Venetia. Venetia is a dance artist currently in Germany. Yeah, working as a dancer, but she has this other side of her which is able to do music, which is amazing. I always wanted to do music and dance together. So Venetia can do both. For me, I work with Ahmad. Ahmad is an electronic musician. He's also a very accomplished guitarist, but now he does a lot of electronic music. Really like the way he sends like movement in his piece, and translate that into sound. Yeah, so that's Ahmad. Yeah, so talk a little bit about maybe the music collaboration.
So our collaboration, I'm not very eloquent. Like not like I can specifically say I want this instrument. I would just make things that. Can you make a sound like ding 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 like that? So this is how sophisticated my language is when I communicate with what I want with the music. But a lot of times is actually I will describe it like how I think, like what I think it makes me feel, and sometimes I might send her some pieces of music that might evoke that as well. Sometimes also I realize that she hears different things as well. Yeah, but most of the time it's because of the time difference. It's me at 3 a.m. making weird sounds like I want like ooh sound. Yeah, this is this is the extent of how how I describe things to her. But I think it's because one thing we managed to do it for so long is because I think it's because I feel like I can totally like come off stupid. I don't have to come off like super intelligent and like, you know, and I still feel she does take my ideas seriously. So yeah.
And it's been a few times, right, working with Venetia. It's not the first time.
This is my fifth work with her. Yeah.
Wow, fifth work.
Yeah.
Quite a long-term collaborator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
My turn.
Yes, your turn.
Yeah, so I think like how we met Ridwan, it was really serendipitous because we were working on an outdoor show, Dog 65, and then we talked about like what we might like, right, in this musician, and then Guofeng said like he asked me to write up a little post. So I honestly feel like when you posted that thing and Ridwan answered it, it was like the universe answered our call.
Yeah.
It's like Mary Poppins, you know, you just like that, and then and then you, even before he sat down, remember, Guofeng said to me like, I think we struck gold. Like I don't know, like it just everything felt right. Yeah, our process is very friendly. Like we're like walking along the beach or going to eat ramen, and then we just talk about not even the piece sometimes, just stuff. Maybe one of the things that we wanted for this piece was to kind of have really, I guess, like some music, like melodic music, rhythmic music, stuff where you can, like almost like you could release this as a song. Yes, at the end of this work, you'll hear Ridwan's hopefully new single.
New single.
Yeah, I really think it has lyrics, and it came from, I guess, all our conversations together, and then contrasting to that really.
So should we see some royalties for that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but also some parts like with the guitar and all, you also hear his virtuosity, which I really enjoy, and then contrasting to that, we also try to capture the stigma feels with some naturally recorded text. We started to do that actually to each other during our meetings, so, and then we extended that to the rest of the group. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, don't need to say more than that.
Thanks, Peter, by the way. Peter is the one that linked Ridwan to us after seeing the post that we sent out. Yeah. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about Ahmad. Ahmad is we knew through Ridwan. Yeah, so they were ex-colleagues, and according to Ridwan, Ahmad was his favorite guitarist. I'm not sure still is or not. Let's ask Ridwan for that. But yeah, so Ahmad, we brought him in to do a project called Unsound Bodies, which Christina was in as well. So it's an improvisational project, and we did spend many hours in the studio to experiment and to kind of improv together. And for me, I feel like Ahmad is always surprised me with what he input as a sound. So when I choreograph, I always hear stuff, even though I haven't found the music yet. I kind of know what I would want as a music, but Ahmad will always surprise me, and he can always give me something that I cannot hear. Yeah, so which I feel like in this collaboration is a bit of that. I will send him a clip. Okay, I did 5 minutes today, and then he'll send me back 8 minutes. Then I'm like, I haven't done the 3 minutes. How you know? Then I will try to go in a direction, and then I do a bit more, like 11 minutes, and I send him. And if next time he send me 20 minutes, wow, it's always this constant chasing and catching feeling, and then we'll talk about what worked, what didn't work, and then we kind of edit from there. So it was an interesting experience. I mean, if I may say so myself, the works are worth watching, but even if you don't do anything, listen to the music, I feel already it's very good. Yeah, as a music layer. So yeah, for me personally, I have that kind of feeling that there's both things happening on the show. So yeah, that's about it for the chat session. Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on board the project, Marcus and Christina. I hope we'll see more of everybody's work in the years to come, but for now specifically, I encourage everybody to come and watch Eudaimonia. Even if I put myself out of the equation, I feel like the works that they presented are definitely worth watching. Hey, okay, thank you. Please cut out the awkward moments.
So long. Oh,
hey, I'm
yeah,
so
just
sorry. I always
editing.
dry out. This is
Oh, it's
gonna
okay.
happen when we do post show dialogue.
Oh, it's
Just
okay.
like